was an accident. About an hour ago, a small jet went down inside New York City. The president was on board.
President of what?
Gas, check. Food, check. Water, check. Weapons, check. Everything, check. Network, check. Multiple places to go, check. Chemical suits, check. You name it.
All right, folks, welcome back. PrepperNow. A little chit chat in the car. I want to talk today about, well, it kind of all correlates, and it starts with some general affordability things and what's going on in the national horse race, and then, of course, why concerns should be had by you. So, let me start off by addressing the people that say you're an idiot to vote. You know, I used to think that way about 8 months to a year ago. I was like, you know what, I'm not really into it, none of this matters, and defaulted back to my belief that basically this thing's getting run into the ground no matter what. And I still believe that, I really do. I think if Trump gets in, it's a speed bump, and if Kamala gets in, it's a acceleration to the inevitable. But here's the thing with that. If you just hand him the keys to the castle, and you're just like, all right, run it into the ground, I don't care anymore, or whatever, I don't think you're going to get some of the unintended consequences that are necessary. And one of which is exposing them for the total sham, corrupt pieces of crap that they are. Okay, if you just hand it to them, you're like, whatever. They're going to be able to get away with anything. At least you're kind of going down fighting with the whole voting thing, and you'll expose them for what they're doing if they're doing something nefarious, not on the up and up. Does that make sense? Kind of does to me. Someone kind of put a comment to that a long time ago. I can't remember who or where. But I just started thinking about it. I said, you know what? At least we'll be able to kind of have an idea of how deep and how far they want to go. So if you've been alive and watching what's going on, the national markets of like the poly market and the betting markets are really not going well, and they're kind of the best predictor. I think I looked last night, it was 61-39 to Orange Man bad. And that's really tough to overcome, especially right now, because honestly, there's a lot of people that have already voted, and there's a lot of people that are in the process of voting, and unless some kind of a cataclysmic thing comes out, people basically have already made up their minds. Now, one of the reasons why it is being run away right now by Orange Man Bad, and that's if they allow him to do it, and think about that, to my earlier statement, if everybody in the country is like, yeah, we want him over her, or like most, almost, 3 out of 4 people, and all of a sudden she magically happens to pull it out, especially with one of these tabulations that takes about 3 weeks after it's all said and done, everybody's going to see it for the BS that it is, which basically most people know, which is why people are jaded. You get the point. But the reason why she's faring so poorly is because people are faring so poorly. Everything is super expensive. So one of the most consistent voting blocks for the left are young people, 20s and 30s. Well, what's something that they can't do anymore that they used to be able to do? That's called buy a home. Average age of a person that can buy a home now is in their 40s. I think it might be late 30s, early 40s. Average price is almost $500,000. So if you're fresh out of college, you went to Woke University and you paid $85,000 a year to, get the indoctrination package and get your degree in Eastern African underwater basket weaving, and you're suddenly having a tough time finding a job because you're an idiot, you're not going to be able to buy a house. You're not going to have the economic freedom that previous generations had. So the astute will figure out pretty quickly that it's not have anything really to do with the boomers. The boomers did what any generation would do. They lived, they bought houses, and they procreated and moved on. This generation doesn't have that possibility anymore. Gen Z, the later ones, or Gen Alpha, whatever the heck the names are coming out, they don't have that possibility. So if you have no hope for the future, no hope of building wealth, and you can kind of see pretty quickly, especially in the last 4 years, just how accelerated the price increases have become, you're going to go with the people that were in office, regardless of what their little letter says next to them. Manhattan, 650 square foot apartment is like over $1 million, and its prices have increased by 40-50% in the last 5 years alone. People can't afford that. When I was deciding to move to New York, when I was in my early 30s, and I thought, I want to go live in New York, I could do that. I didn't have a skilled job. I was just a dude in a restaurant who knew how to bartend and wait tables. I could move to New York and make it. Got a place, got set up, rent was reasonable, and my income was adjusted appropriately to live the lifestyle. And I thrived. I flourished. Put myself through college too eventually. Met my wife, started a home, had kids, all in the New York City area. You can't do that now. Even worse is California and the West Coast. All of the top places that you have to pay are all out on the West Coast. California, San Jose, Seattle, Portland, LA, San Francisco. And what do you get with that? Oh, all right, great. I get fecal matter sprayed streets downtown, dodging needles and stuff like that. That's why people are moving to the Midwest. People are moving to the South. Like, I can afford this. I can afford living in Mississippi. I can afford living in Georgia. And there's an ocean not too far away. So yesterday it came out that there's a funeral for Ethel Kennedy. And some highfalutin people were there. You had the Barack, you had the JoJo Moore. And there's a little conversation that was caught. Couldn't hear it. But they brought in professional lip readers. And they went and they looked and they analyzed. And they said, what are these guys saying to each other? What's going on with this? And it's a caught moment where Joe and Barack are facing the cameras and are speaking freely, thinking that no one is hearing what they're having to say. Now, we can't completely confirm this, but it does look like it, especially after the professional lip readers. Joe said basically Kamala is not as strong as he is. And Barack largely agreed. J.D. Vance, the other night after the Fox interview, came out and said basically, you guys ever thought about maybe switching out Joe for Kamala? It is bad it is bad for them. There was the Al Smith dinner last night. This thing has been attended by both candidates as kind of a show of peace, you know, because what it used to be was if you were in the administration and it looked like your power was going to be lost, you didn't act like a flailing child and hold on to everything to keep your power because you're a corrupt piece of shit. You basically said, okay, let me go back to the woodshed and figure out how to win again. At least that's what people with fucking integrity used to do. No. Not the current class. Not wokeuniversityasshole.com sitting in there worrying, I can't give the whole permanent state of Washington. No, these people don't have integrity. They're not going to go anywhere. So the Al Smith dinner, basically, candidates show up, people make fun of them. Well, Kamala videotaped her response. She didn't show up. And it was not exactly well received. Jim Gaffigan, very funny guy. He was the comedian that was to give the roast kind of speech, introductions, oration, if you will. And one of the things he said really stuck out in my mind. And it's something essentially to the fact, it's not exactly verbatim, but you'll get the gist. The Democrats were so worried about the threat to democracy that they had to stage a coup to save it. I'll let you marinate on that one for a moment, because let me tell you something, folks. These people that are trying to run the show, that are in charge, they're not going anywhere. They don't care about integrity. They don't care about the process. They don't care about the country. They don't care about the Constitution and the legal, peaceful transfer of power. People like Mark Elias and all these other lawfare law prostitutes. They're not going anywhere, and they're going to fight everything with tooth and nail and make it so everybody suffers, all because they don't want to lose power. And you can use your imagination to just how far, wide, and deep they will go. All right, friends, we're going to cut it off on that one. God bless. Hopefully you're able to handle things. Keep prepping. Keep doing the things. Keep stacking stock and sticking to the plan. Keep your head on the swivel and your powder dry, and I appreciate you coming by. PrepperNow. Check out the links in the description and join me elsewhere. Probably do a live stream tonight. God bless.